So, if you run a business in the UAE, you've probably thought about hiring a tax agent to handle all the compliance stuff. But that brings up a really important question. If they make a mistake, who's legally on the hook? In this quick explainer, we're going to break down the role of a tax agent and get to the single most important rule you absolutely need to know. All right, so let's just dive right into that big question. I mean, you hire an expert because you want things done right, yeah? But what happens if an error gets made on your tax return? Who's the one that's ultimately held accountable by the authorities? Getting this right is so fundamental to navigating the tax system here. Okay, to really get to the bottom of that, we've got to first be super clear on what a tax agent actually is and what the law says they can, and just as importantly, can't do. So the official definition is, well, it's very specific for a reason. You got to pay attention to those key phrases: officially registered and federal tax authority. This means a tax agent isn't just any accountant you find. No, they are a professional who has been formally approved by the government to represent you. So what does that look like day to day? Well, it means they can handle all the heavy lifting of your tax obligations. We're talking preparing and filing returns, keeping your records straight, and being the main point of contact with the FTA. They can even represent you if you're ever facing an audit. You can really think of them as your go-to compliance partner. All right, now this is where things can get a little confusing for people. The words tax agent and tax agency, they sound almost the same, right? But legally, they're totally different things, and understanding this difference is pretty essential. Let's break it down, because this really clears things up. See, the tax agent, that's the person, the individual professional who's passed the exams, has the experience, and holds their own unique registration number, the TAN. The tax agency, on the other hand, is the business, the accounting firm or law firm with the trade license that employs them. So, to put it simply, you hire the agency, and a registered agent who works there handles your file. So you might be wondering, why all these rules? Why so many layers of registration? Well, it all boils down to one thing: making sure you're getting a high standard of professional competence and, frankly, ethics. And believe me, the bar for becoming an agent is set really, really high. The FTA doesn't just ask for a relevant degree and a few years of hands-on experience. They also require fluency in both English and Arabic, and a squeaky clean record. This whole process ensures they have the deep technical knowledge and the professional integrity to handle complex tax issues. And that's all before they even get to sit for the crazy tough official exam. Look, these aren't just hoops to jump through for the sake of it. They're safeguards. The reason the conditions are so strict is to guarantee that anyone who's officially managing your tax affairs is qualified, experienced, and trustworthy. At the end of the day, this whole system is really designed to protect you, the taxpayer. All right, so we know what they are, we know the standards are high. Now, let's circle back to that huge question we asked at the very beginning. Because this next part, this is probably the single most important rule you need to get when working with any tax professional. And here it is. This is the absolute key. It doesn't matter how amazing or qualified your agent is. Hiring them does not. And I want to repeat that, not transfer your legal responsibility. If there's an error, a penalty, a missed deadline, the law is crystal clear. Your business is the one that's fully accountable. Okay, so if you can't just hand off the responsibility, what does that actually mean for you? How should you approach this in a practical way for your business? Well, it really boils down to three key things you should always be doing. First up, always, and I mean always, check that both your agent and their agency are officially registered with the FTA. Second, you have to remember their work is only as good as the information you give them. So providing accurate data is completely on you. And third, stay in the loop. You need to have a clear understanding of what is being filed in your company's name. Look, a great tax agent is an amazing partner. They're there to help you navigate all this. They bring the expertise, they handle the complicated stuff. But they're a support system, not a substitute for your own responsibility. That responsibility, it always, always stays with you. So let's leave you with one final thought to chew on. Have a think about your own strategy and ask yourself this: is your approach built on getting expert support to help you meet your obligations? Or is it kind of built on the hope of shifting the responsibility away entirely? Because knowing the difference between those two, well, that's the key to a truly solid compliance strategy.